Hello, good afternoon. Here we are with this interesting man, and he's going to tell us his name. Can you tell us what's your name, please?
Yes, my name is Jean-Luc Pilon.
Yes.
I'm an archaeologist, and I work at the Canadian Museum of History. I'm a curator of archaeology.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I think that the topic will be the First Peoples, and I have a question right now. Can you tell us, please, how is the family's organization? I mean, that perhaps is a complex question to answer, but can you tell us the role of the father, the mother, the children?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, Canada is a very, very large country. And within Canada, just languages alone, there are between 50 and 60 surviving languages. Now, there are many communities associated with each and every one of those language families, so there's over 600 First Peoples communities in Canada. So you can expect that there are going to be great differences. On the coast of British Columbia, for example, traditionally people lived from fishing, but they were permanent residences established, so they weren't migrating peoples. In the prairies of the center of Canada, people depended a lot on buffalo, but they had to be very mobile. They would come together for big buffalo hunts and then spread out and distribute themselves across the land when the buffalo weren't there. In southern Ontario, people were farmers, but the farming was in the hands of women, and so the women had a lot more authority, power, and a bigger role in society. So a lot of the cultures throughout Canada, men played a very predominant role. They were patrolocal, they were patrilineal, descent was through your father's line. But in southern Ontario, with the Iroquoian-speaking farmers, women had a much, much more important role. And the women were the farmers. And so they had the means of production were within their hands. And so they, for example, would name chiefs. And they would tell the chiefs what kind of decisions needed to be shared. They would tell the chiefs when to make war and when to make peace. So they are a bit of a difference there. So there's a lot of different structures that existed traditionally, and of course in modern times these may have changed as well.
And what about children, teenagers? Can you tell us something?
Well, I think in traditional cultures, children, as early as they could start to contribute to the family's economy, they would. Now, sometimes that meant that, for example, in hunting societies where the men might be off hunting large animals, the children could still stay at home and help their mothers, or they could trap small animals near their camps, and so they became contributors as early as they could. Was it a game where they would learn skills slowly through doing? More than likely.
Okay.
But children were not children for a long time, but I think they slowly moved into their roles as adults.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. Can you tell us something about the chief of the tribe? I mean, the old men, when they gather, they talk about the issues about the tribe, or I don't know, what else can they discuss?
Again, that depends on the society that you're talking about and where, but in a very general sense, leadership in traditional hunting societies is not through elections, but it's through what a person knows and how a person behaves. And so there will be a consensus around leadership. This person is a good hunter. So if the question is, where should we go and locate our camp this fall, they will ask that better hunter where he thinks it should be. Once they have established that camp, then they might confer with somebody else and give the leadership, the temporary leadership, to somebody else to make decisions based on his experience, which may be more valuable or better than somebody else's.
Wow.
So it was wisdom that was at the base of leadership,
Yes.
as it should be.
Yes. And finally, what is the relationship between these tribes, or these First Peoples, and nature?
Well, of course, the first peoples, the indigenous peoples of Canada, depended, their life was dependent on a very close relationship with nature. Many groups saw a spiritual connection. Okay, so in the Arctic, for example, you weren't just hunting sea mammals like seals and beluga whales to eat.
Yes.
You were also being allowed to hunt those animals. You were being allowed to take that animal and to kill it by its spirit.
Yes.
So that you had to, before you undertook a hunt, you had to perhaps, I won't say make prayers, but you had to establish a relationship with the animal and convince it to allow itself to die for you,
Yes,
to allow itself to be taken.
and be grateful to that animal,
Absolutely,
because
and respect it.
and respect it.
For example, a large whale. When
Yes.
a large whale was killed and it was hauled onto the shore,
Yes.
one of the first things is that people would give it a drink of water. Because if you had been in the ocean drinking salt water all your life,
Yes.
the fresh water would taste so good. So they were giving its spirit something that it needed. So even though the animal was dead, there was still a very strong relationship with the animal.
Oh, marvelous, marvelous. Okay, so thank you very much. That will be all.
You're very
It was a
welcome.
pleasure hearing from you, listening to you. Thank you.